I worked at the council office for 12 years, but before that, I had 2 other jobs. My first job, I graduated from St. Anthony's on a Wednesday. I interviewed for a job on Friday, and I started a full-time job at Martin Ship Service at 217 Lagoon in Wilmington. It was a company that hired ship scalers and painters. This is before the container ships. And they would get calls, and the scalers would go and paint the ships, clean the tanks out. They would clean up oil spills. Oil spills used to happen quite often, that I recall. I worked at Martin Ship Service 3 years, was married, was home for 2 years, and then I went to work for Walter Kemmer, the owner of Industrial Paint Company in Wilmington. I worked there 29 years. I did a lot of work that you wouldn't consider being paint store business. Walter Kemmer was very involved with the Masonic Lodge, and then he started a fellowship dinner for Masons at the San Pedro Lodge. The first one was for 60 men, and it grew and it grew. He used to host the fellowship dinner for men at the cruise terminal. And that's where I met Rudy Svorinich. When Rudy was 14, he was Walter's neighbor, and Walter said, I'm going to bring my neighbor. I want him to help with the Mariners' Night. So I gave Rudy an assignment to get a signature on guest book from all the gentlemen that were on the dais at that dinner. So he continued to do that each year, and then he was elected student body president. And one day he started working part-time at the paint store while he was attending Dominguez University. One day we were having lunch in the basement of the paint store, and I said to Rudy, you were student body president. You're going to be somebody someday, and I'm going to help you. So when Rudy decided to run for city council office, I worked like crazy. I knew nothing about city government. I would leave the paint store at 5 o'clock, go home and change my clothes into something comfy, go to the campaign office for 1 year. And so when he was elected, he said, do you want to stay and work at the paint store or come work at the council office? I said, I work hard to get you elected. I want to come work at the council office. So I worked for Rudy 2 terms, 8 years, and then I promised Janice Hahn, I said, Janice, I will work as hard for you as I did for Rudy. And I worked for Janice Hahn for 4 years.